Hi, my name is Vicki, and on my blog I have a series called 115 Wednesdays, which is a countdown to when my son Jordan is going to college or work or whatever he's doing. So this week has been a lot of conflict. It's been a lot of struggle, and I know logically in my head it's because he's needing to pull away from me, get his own identity, be his own person, do his own thing, but it's very disconnecting, and from a parent standpoint, kind of draining. And I have been asking parents for years, what's senior year like? What do you do? And all of them feel this kind of disconnect, and they're kind of ready for their son or daughter to move on, because I think there's this hold of connection that you just can't, because they need to be their own person. So this past week, I have been bumping into this, and here's what it's looked like at our house. So it's another car story. And by the way, there's not been car stories. This is not the typical for me in my life is about cars, but here's the deal. So I was getting my hair done, and long story short, while I was in the salon, a car hit mine. And not huge damage, but some damage that ultimately needed to be taken care of. And I did not call the cops. And I didn't want to file a police report, and I should have. And long story short, I needed to involve my insurance company, and they were able to help and cover me. So in my intent to be vulnerable and share with my son, I said, hey, Jordan, I just want to share with you, if you're ever in an accident, I need you to go ahead and get a police report. I'm going to get a police report next time. And he said, oh, that's cool. He said, but 6 months ago, I did bump somebody, and they got out of the car, and it's all kind of okay. And they just were okay with it, and we moved on. Now, I did not want to hear that in that moment. I was just sharing that this is what he should do. I wasn't really wanting to talk about that he hit somebody, so I said, so that's a lesson for you, right? Like, you learned your lesson. Be careful how you drive, be really aware of what's around you, don't fumble with the radio, like that's your lesson. And he said, that's not my lesson. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is your lesson, like don't do this again. And he's like, that's not a lesson. What do you mean? That just happened and it's funny and it's no big deal. To which I, as every single mom on the planet, said, that is a lesson, and before something bigger happens, I think you should get this. To which he said no, and I walked away because I felt every single cell in my body start to heave and get like flustered, and I felt this was going to start to happen. And I just want to say this is when anger can set in, and this is where the conflict goes. And the truth is, at this point, nobody was going to hear anybody. So I walked away. I said, okay, I'm going to walk away. Took some space, and I want to just share the process because I share this with people and it's been really, really helpful. But as I walked away, I just took a breath and I thought to myself, what was the original intent of that conversation? And the original intent of the conversation was me being in a vulnerable place with a mistake that I had made. So, period, the contract of what I engaged in was truly to just share information. It was not to make any point, other than, here, please do this. So whatever he shared after that is going to just be part of connecting. And I can't really have an agenda for this. So I went back down and I said, okay, look, I'm just really sorry. I said, my fear just kicked in as a mom. And it's really hard for me to hear that you bumped somebody. It's hard for me to hear that you think you have your lesson. And it's hard for me to hear that you think that's funny, because this is not funny to me. And maybe I just can't hear this right now. So I apologize for reacting out of fear. And he said, that's okay. And what was cool was he also said, I can't control your reaction. So you just react however you need to. I understand. And it's in that moment that I really loved that we could both just acknowledge where we were and accept that the other person is where they are and that it's okay. And we can't change it, maybe we don't like it, but there's a level of acceptance that helped us honor and respect two separate people to just be okay in this whole process of letting go. This is not an easy year. This is really hard stuff. And it's mainly hard just because I don't know how to let him go, and I don't want to let him go. And I'm not going to cry. I thought about crying, but I'm not going to cry because I want him to do so well in the world and not stay with me. And yet I have to allow him to be who he is here, and let that be separate from me. So yes, I am also struggling too, but getting through it, and thank you.